Coach, of course, today, just with the team struggling from deep aside from Chrissy, did you think that those were good shots just not going in, or how would you assess the shot quality there?
25 ones that we work on. I expect us to make 8. Not. We chart that on the side. I'll turn around and say to Jeff and people, one of them was a half court shot, so let's eliminate that one. That goes on the stat sheet, and then one of them was at the end of the shot clock. So there were, I thought 25 good ones by shooters that we obviously want shooting. Sailor, Sam, and Mac are kids that have made them historically, make them every day in practice more at a higher rate than anybody we have. Doesn't translate. It didn't translate. And then, our confidence got down, and Georgia's got a compounding frustration ability on you. They play so physical. They're in the passing lanes. They tip a lot of balls. They make you work for every single shot. And when you work and you get one that you've been making the last 2 days, and in warmups, we were on fire. It has a compounding effect. It really gets frustrating. And we let that boil over there in the fourth quarter. It got away from us. But yeah, Georgia, I think is a really, really good basketball team. I've been telling people since we saw them play down in the Virgin Islands, you let Coach Abe get this group with another 8 or 10 games of that zone defense and their attack. And two, she's got so many new players meshing with the players that she brought with her from Central Florida. You just knew when we left the Virgin Islands that it was going to be a different team than when we saw them. And they are. I think they're obviously a lock NCAA tournament team now. Good seed in the NCAA tournament. They're going to give a lot of people fits because you have to prepare like you've not prepared all year, because there's not a lot of people that play defense like they do.
Yeah, but and we just talk about. I know it was. I think they're having a little bit of internet issues, so hopefully you can hear me. But
I can now.
Yeah, but you talk a little bit about. I mean, it was a close game throughout, and then there was just really like a 3-minute stretch in the fourth quarter where I think they outscored you. They went on a 14-0 run, had some of those technical shots. We just talk about how what just got away right there.
The 8 point is exactly the point, Ethan, that we had a dead ball timeout. And I was trying to explain to him that, 8 points in some games is a lot. There was like 5 minutes left. I was like, you got plenty of time most nights, but not against these guys, because you're only going to get about 12 more possessions. It's hard to outscore somebody that's good offensively as well by that many. So I said, we got to go right now. We went out and we got to stop, and we gave up an offensive rebound. And then, we get the 2 technicals. That's because frustration boils over. I'm always going to protect my players and my bench. They didn't give me the first one. They gave me the second one, but I'm always going to get a second one. I don't, we'll talk about all those things, but it got away from us. Anybody that watched the game will know, but anybody that just simply scans the box score will know. And it's frustrating for us as coaches. It's frustrating for the kids, and it's an all-time high right now. But we can't point to one little thing. It wasn't just that little 3-minute. It wasn't one of the technicals. It wasn't one call. It was a culmination of things that led to a boiling over point, and it got away from us. But that's a lesson for us to learn.
All good.
And then the last thing that I'll ask is, we've talked a lot about how good at defense Georgia is. Whenever they're making 53% of their shots, how tough is it to beat that team?
We're not going to win on the road that way. I think we've won twice here ever. So you're not going to win with that formula. 5 for 33 from the 3 and allowing them to. And again, Ethan, the frustration is a lot of the things were top of the scout stuff, not the very first thing you say about a particular player. You usually hope that we can take that away, and they just exploited some top of the scout stuff. I told the kids I'll take 99% of the responsibility for how we played today. I look at it, so we're 6-8, 2 opportunities to get to 8-8, or 7-8, or finish 6-10. 6-10 has gotten teams in the SEC in before, and I think across the country, I'm talking about. You look at Oregon, who's in the top 20 in the net, but they're 3 or 4 games under 500 in their league. It's just going to happen in good leagues. When you play against good people, you're going to get a few losses. So.
Right. mean, I think the second half of the season has not probably gone exactly to plan. What are you shocked that up to?
The schedule. Not all wins are created equal. Not all losses are created equal. The 10 losses we have, a lot of pretty good teams in there.
Anything else? Is there?
Yeah, go. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just think Chrissy Carr, like, can you talk a little about her tonight? I mean, she had such a great game, but also, the rest of the stat line is for other folks, it's not as good.
Yeah, she's our best 3-point shooter. She has been on the court. She might not be in practice, but she translates it best. That's maturity. She's been in a lot of big games. She'll be the first one to tell you that, our offense was pretty good, but our defense wasn't. That's the maturity Chrissy has. But she played good offensively, handled the pressure, handled the contest, and our kids started looking for her. They really did start looking for her. And I think she took a couple of shots there kind of toward the end once it got away that kind of skews her numbers, but she certainly played good and somebody that, I hope our younger kids can look at and say, hey, relax and make the shots that you make in practice in games because she's doing it. Let's find out what she's doing and carry that over. But she did have a good offensive game for sure.
And you said that, confidence was shook a little bit today.
Yeah. Well, it's been for the last several weeks.
Yeah. Like going into these next 2 games that are, very important, where do you feel like that puts you on?
Don't know. I haven't spent enough time with them yet. I haven't talked to enough of them yet. It's so emotional right after a game and there's so much stuff going on that, usually post-game talks aren't the best time to do that. Our particular group, the best time will be after they've had some time to kind of digest it a little bit, let it settle in, let some of the emotion go, let some of the frustration go, and maybe come up with some things. I don't think you can fake confidence. I don't think you can just say, here's some confidence. I think it's got to be earned, and I think it's got to happen in games. I think practice is a good spot to start, but until they see a few go down in the game, it compounds and gets harder and harder and harder when they don't. So I don't know the answer. We're going to try some things. I've tried every old trick I've had with any team I've ever had or any shooter I've ever had. I'm going to call a bunch of coaches that I've not talked to in a while and try some new things because I do know if you try the same thing over and over and expect a different result, that's not usually the very good method. So keep back to work and keep pumping the kids up, trying to protect them from themselves, the confidence monster or the worry monster or whatever we've got going on, and just have a little bit more fun. It's not been much fun the last 5 or 6 games. Not fun to lose these days and at this level. So I'm okay with them having those emotions. I just want to make sure we give them the necessary tools to cope with them.